Good afternoon. It's currently 2:25 Eastern Time or 7:25 PM here in the UK, and I'm just going to recap my trades for today. On my screen is the MES and we're looking at the hourly. Unfortunately I wasn't around to do a live pre-market video today as I was in one of my computer repair shops, and I didn't get out till a bit later, till after 2 PM, and 2 PM is 9 AM Eastern Time, and so by the time I got back to looking at the market, I just took a very brief look at the 60-minute chart, one we're looking at, and noticed that I had some levels in place from yesterday. These levels we're watching are pretty much still valid. There's no real new levels, and then I did jump in on, I had a slight long bias today, and because we saw this double, let me zoom in. As you can see, yesterday we sold off, and I had a slight long bias, and that's only because in the post-market last night and the pre-market today, we had this double bottom, and we're putting in a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And then obviously today we're still putting another higher high. So when I came into the market, it was about 10. I'll tell you, it was about 10 AM. No, it was about about 10 AM almost. Just before 10, I got back into the market, and I was watching it from about here. So levels are still valid from yesterday. So if you saw my live video yesterday, the levels we got, and you can see how valid they were. Today we came down to this level. We touched it twice. That was the yesterday's levels. Came back up to this level, 4,400. Look at that. Touched it again. Came within one or two ticks of 4,400, and it sold off. And look at the level. Come back into this bottom area as well. And this area we're watching is 43.65, and it's bounced off that as well. So whether it holds, we won't know. But anyway, let's just go through my trades. I'm going to go into the 2-minute chart. And the 2-minute chart, I got in, by the time I got into the market, it was just before 10 AM. In fact, I was watching, I got in when we were about here, and I saw it pull back. And then I took a trade. The trade I took was this RBI trade. And it's more of a scalp because I saw this double bottom, and we pulled up, what was my thinking? It was about, that's right, yeah. So I saw this double bottom here, and we pulled up over the VWAP, and we came into the VWAP. We couldn't quite break it. We never really closed properly below it. We tried to there. We got these two bottom tails as well, and then we had this bullish candle, and we saw this big volume spike as well at the same time, and it was a volume spike, and there was an anomaly as well. There's a few things. So this is a volume spike I'm about to talk about. I need to show you on the 5-minute chart because that's where it makes more sense. So in the 5-minute, we had this red bearish narrow wide range bar, which basically took out the previous 10 minutes of trading. But interestingly, the volume was lower than the previous bar, and that previous bar was smaller. So we had this small, I call it a narrower range bar, and then we had the wider range bar, which is bigger but on less volume, and that indicated there was weakness in the sellers, because you expect a bigger bar will give you bigger volume, or at least equal volume, but it didn't. And then I saw this tail volume, and if you look again at the volume, so we had this tail volume here. It was a smaller bar than the previous one, but the volume was still above average, and so the buyers were back in the market. Couldn't close below the 200 moving average, couldn't close below the VWAP, and it closed above the 8 and just about above the 20 moving average, and all the moving averages are all come in as well, all quite close to each other as well. So what I took, and I narrowed it down, I used a 2-minute to take this trade. So that was my confirmation, the volume, and where we were finishing on the 5-minute. I was using the 5 minutes as my confirmation. The bottom tails as well is a very bullish sign as well. So the bottom tail there. So So going back into the 2 minute, and what I took was the RBI. It was this candle here I was watching, and I took the long just above as it broke above this red candle. So it couldn't close, again on the 2 minute, it couldn't close below the VWAP. So that's 2 time frames, that's 2 time frames now confirming this. We had higher volume as well in this candle, so that showed quite a bullish sign, although it's relative to the previous candle, so but it shows strength. And it closed, this is a bullish candle, and what I was watching was for the break just there. So I had my stop just above that by 1 or 2 ticks, and my stop was going to be, my stop was actually there, but it's a mental stop, and I'll get to that in a second. So my target was this area 4400, that's what I was targeting. Even though you can see higher concentrated volume here, which was backed up by my bookmap as well at the same time. Bookmap had higher concentrated volume just before 44 at that area there. So if you can see on this area, I was watching that area as well, so it didn't quite get to that area, and I probably didn't scalp. I didn't scalp very well. Let's move that back. And I let it come right back, and I almost back to, I was going to stop myself out, but I held. I saw this bottom tail, and I saw this volume as well with the bottom tail as well. So there's high volume. It was kind of undecided volume. So we had, it's almost an indecision candle, but the bottom tail was what did it for me, and the fact it barely closed below the VWAP. And you know, I see this as an area, not a line. And so I waited for the next candle before had we broken below that candle and closed below that candle, I would have taken a partial stop, and my main stop would have been there then. But we didn't. We put in this rather bullish hammer candle, which is a bottom tail candle, and the volume wasn't great on it. But then we saw increase in volume over the next few candles. So this candle's increase in volume, and so I actually added, where did I add? It was down there, I added just there. And I didn't know, I would have just stopped out there had it broken through. So I was in a, still it wasn't a full trade, it was a scalp trade, so I was about half, maybe 3/4 of a normal position size there. And as you can see, it pulled back, came in, I added again there as it closed above the VWAP, and I took profit there, and I took profit, I'm just comparing it with my second, where's the other profit place? So I took profit, it was right there. As soon as it couldn't make a new high, I took profit, and oh, this is what I did. So I was all out at that point, and what I did then, I waited for it to come back down, and just looking at my trades, that's it, yeah, so it came right back down to 43.38, and I got out of my final contract there, because even though my break even was right down, my break even was down, in fact my break even was about there, because I added down here. Let's get rid of that one. So I should do these recaps as soon as I do the trade. So that's my break even around that area, it's at the VWAP break even. And so I got out of my trade there because I didn't want to lose all of it. If we pulled right back down here and broke down, then I would have lost out on all the profit from this last leg of my trade. So I was all out of there, and I was waiting for another long position. And at the time I was watching this potential head and shoulders forming, and as soon as I saw that this left right hand shoulder didn't form, I got back in. So I was in there, and it came into my level here, 43.99. I was waiting for 4400. My order was just 2 ticks below there, and I held because I thought we might have put another big candle in, because we were seeing lots of bigger buyers on bookmap, and in the end it didn't. So my out was there. So basically that was my gain. And I think I compared this a couple of weeks ago with like the fish, you know, which you're a fisherman at sea, and they will discard the head. This is the head here. I put a nice eye. you cut the head off, and you got the tail as well. And cut the tail off, and the idea is you take the main body of the fish, or the body of the trade, and that's what I took on both instances. I took the main meat of the trade. I took the meat there, and I took the meat of the trade here, with a little bit where I came out and waited. So good day overall, really good day. Good trading, no losers, everything was positive, and I'm not trading now. Interestingly though, let's take a look where we are. My out was a perfect out, because look where we are now. We couldn't come back up. I thought we may have come back and retested that area, but we didn't, and we've just sold right off. We are now negative for the day. So where do we finish? Oh yeah, look, we've actually broken below yesterday's low as well. So we're looking pretty bearish. So what are we looking like here? Although we have put in a low, and look at it coming to that the demand zone, and these levels are still pretty valid even though they're a few days old now. So we touched that zone, which if I was still playing, if I was still trading, I would have taken a starter entry at that zone, and then we came back. I probably would have taken another starter entry on this level as well, and it's a higher high and a higher low, and potentially we could, if we can break this pivot at 43.72, we may be looking at a change of trend, possibly. But you know, that's fine. I'm not going to get into any more trading. Just look at the volume as well, which makes it even more interesting. So generally when you get to the end of a trend, you start seeing volume pick up as well. Volume's picking up here, has been picking up. Look at the volume here, which is this part of the trade. When you compare it to the rest of the trade, even though we had this big sell-off here, the volume was below average. So that suggests that there's no real strength in the selling. You know, and it doesn't mean it's going to reverse. It just means that if they're selling, the sellers are content with what they've got. The buyers are not there to pick up the pieces, and it could just keep going down, and we could just be seeing we could be just looking at another area of accumulation or distribution where we're just going to go sideways for a bit, and then it's going to have another leg down, so it's eating time off the clock. But let's go back into the hourly. The 4 hourly is better. Where's this? So we're coming down to this area now, which is we've not seen since June. So all the gains since June we're now giving back to the market, and we've got this potential demand area. I was about to say it's not very strong, but if you look at the volume here, the volume profile, we've got heavy volume in this area. So, and we've broken below it now, so potentially the next area will be this 43.31, and it's tops of these candles. There's nothing, that's the only thing. So let's have a look at the volume if we zoom out a bit more. Okay, here's a good area. So we've got 40, where are we now? We're here, 43, we're around here at the moment, 43.66. We've got this potential area here for a bounce at 43.65, no, 43.30 I meant, and we've got this area of demand, which is, and it's a whole number of that 4300 area, so we could potentially be heading down to 4300, and this is a big area, and I wonder if we can see that on bookmap. No, there's probably not enough data there. No, there's no big sellers around here, but this is what bookmap's currently looking like. So we've got lots and lots of potential sellers sitting at 4400, and that's the reason I thought we might get up there, because generally, and we pretty much did by $1. We came in there, but the sellers were still there. They got, and then 43.62, which is kind of that area. So yeah, so this backs up my areas on the chart. So we've got 43.62, this area, high increase of buyers, and if we look at 43.62 on the chart, 43.62 happens to be right in this demand, exactly right here where start of my demand zone, and and that's why putting levels in and making notes of demands, supply and demand zones are important, because this zone's been in place now for several months, and it's showing high interest of buyers on bookmap, also at the same area. So it kind of gives you an idea of where the market could be leading to. So we've broken this 4-hour pivot, and we came back and we have retested it as well. So we retested this 4-hour pivot at 4,400, and where we go next is anyone's guess. And probably doesn't look like we want to be putting in a new and a change of trend at the moment on the 5-minute. I think we might be retesting the low shortly. But there you go. So that's good. So good day trading for me. I picked up on that little tiny bit. We haven't moved much. We kind of just been between this area. And let's take a look at oil as well. Okay, oil. Oh, look at that. What we're looking at daily. So we've seen the daily. Look at these topping tails. So this level I've been talking about for some time, 92.18, came into play. That was that 4 days ago. And since then we're putting in a couple of topping tails, increased volume as well. Look at that for increased volume. So potentially we may be seeing ending volume of this current run up. And where we go next, we need to break the daily, and so 88 is an area we want to be watching out for a potential breakthrough and retest. And that's a suit we've put in a lower high as well. So we've got a higher. We've been putting a series of higher highs, higher lows, all the way up, and now we're starting to change trend. So if you can see, if we finish below 91.10, 91.20 today, then potentially that's a higher low, and we need to break through this pivot to confirm the downtrend on the daily. So looking at the hourly, so here you go, it's a bit clearer to see. So we came down, we got close to the 200, came through, we tested the 200, we broke through it, we couldn't quite stay below it, come back up, wasn't able to put in a new high there, although we have today, we slightly new high there, but we rejected that area as well. But we're still above the 200, so until we break the 200 on the hourly, we're in an uptrend. So I wouldn't get too excited about shorts just yet. But if we can come down and hold the 200 moving average and then further down, then that could be a potential short. And I think you know from my previous videos, I'm watching a few areas for a long. I've got my eyes on, go back to the daily. So I've got my eyes on this area here, which is 84.88 down to 84.44, this area, and I'll be looking to go long if we can come down here with confirmation. So if we can get the oil to retest this level here, then I think I want to go long, because hopefully we may be putting in a continuation of this trend. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, that's oil. Do one look on NASDAQ as well. MNQ, there you go, that'll do. And how's that looking? Pretty weak as well. So we've broken yesterday's, yes, that's today's low. Broken today's low, haven't quite broken yesterday's low, but we've put in a double bottom. So that's the area to watch for, 14,840 for a potential bounce. That's a nice double bottom. So how would you play this double bottom? So double bottom came in, and then we got the break and the retest of the double bottom, and into the 50 and into the VWAP. So this will be a good place to get in if you wanted confirmation. Or I'll zoom in a bit to the double bottom. That's if you was awake for this last night. You saw the double bottom come in, the bottom tails on volume as well. Look at that, nice volume, and a higher low, and potentially the break of that, or the break of that if you want to be a bit more conservative with a very aggressive, I would say, because if you had a lower risk tolerant stop loss there, or stop loss below the double bottom, and if you've done that, you would be doing okay. Even though it's coming back down now, yeah, look at that. So we'll see where we are with Nasdaq. It's got to get back down. It's got to break down through 14,800 for it, or got to get down to 14,830. What is that? 14,840 for it to break the lows of yesterday. And did I say MES broke the lows of yesterday? Yeah, it did. So MES is looking weaker than Nasdaq right now. So, and they all need to line up really. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to change. My charts have changed. You probably see this one's got darker blacks, and one of the guys in trading said it's much clearer and much easier to see darker blacks than this like grey in the background, and I agree. I think I prefer that. I don't know why I've been so long without it. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and look out for my live video on Monday. I just realised it's Friday, so have a lovely weekend. Okay, thank you for watching.